If someone you love has started sleeping more, talking less, or quietly pulling away from life, you need to hear this. The signs of an approaching goodbye are often gentle, even beautiful, but easily missed. This video could help you recognize the final year, before it's too late to truly show up. Saying goodbye is never easy, but sometimes, our loved ones begin the process long before their final breath. In this video, we'll walk through 10 tender, often overlooked signs that an elderly person may be in their final year of life. These aren't just medical symptoms, they're quiet whispers from the body and soul, preparing for peace. Whether you're a caregiver, a family member, or someone who simply cares deeply, this video will help you understand what to watch for, and how to support your loved one with grace, compassion, and presence. 1. Noticeable weight loss and muscle wasting. One of the clearest and most common signs that an elderly person may be in the final year of life is significant, unexplained weight loss and visible muscle wasting. This is more than just a smaller appetite, it's often a symptom of the body's natural slowing down as it prepares for the end of life. In aging individuals, metabolism slows, digestion becomes less efficient, and appetite may decrease due to changes in taste, medications, illness, or emotional detachment from eating. They may stop enjoying meals altogether or begin refusing food and drink. You might see clothes hanging loosely, belts needing tightening, or their face becoming more gaunt or hollow. Arms and legs may appear thinner, and the skin might begin to sag due to loss of underlying fat and muscle. This kind of weight loss often reflects a loss of lean body mass, especially muscle, which leads to weakness, fatigue, and a higher risk of falls. It can also make basic activities like standing up, bathing, or even holding a cup difficult. In many cases, this stage marks the transition from independence to dependence. If your loved one is experiencing this change, it's important to offer soft, high-calorie snacks, nutritional shakes, and emotional support. However, don't force eating, it can lead to distress. Instead, shift the focus toward comfort and companionship during meals. Consulting a doctor or hospice provider can also help determine if this is part of a larger end-of-life process, and guide decisions toward dignity-centered care. 2. Increased fatigue and sleeping most of the day. As the body enters its final year, energy becomes a scarce resource. You may notice your elderly loved one sleeping much more than they used to, sometimes up to 16 to 20 hours a day. This isn't laziness or boredom. It's a profound biological shift, a natural part of the body beginning to shut down. Activities that once seemed simple, getting dressed, walking to the bathroom, even sitting up in a chair, now leave them exhausted. They may fall asleep mid-conversation or doze off during meals or TV time. Mornings become slower. Naps stretch longer. Even after resting, they often say, "I'm still so tired." This fatigue can be physical, mental, and emotional. The heart, lungs, and muscles are all working harder just to maintain basic functions. Often, the body begins redirecting energy away from less essential systems, like digestion or movement, toward simply keeping vital organs running. As a result, everyday activities become overwhelming, and rest becomes the default state. You might also notice that they no longer care about keeping up routines or engaging with hobbies they once loved. Reading, gardening, or talking on the phone may now feel like too much effort. This emotional detachment is closely tied to exhaustion. It's not that they don't care, but rather that their energy is simply too low to engage. Rather than encouraging more activity, it's important to respect this need for rest. Create a peaceful, quiet space. Let them wake and sleep naturally. Fatigue at this stage is the body's way of preparing for a softer transition, not something to fight against. 3. Frequent hospitalizations or infections. Another major warning sign that an elderly person may be in their final year of life is a noticeable increase in hospital visits, medical emergencies, or recurring infections. These episodes often come more frequently, take longer to recover from, and leave the person weaker than before. Common examples include pneumonia, urinary tract infections, UTIs, skin infections, or even minor wounds that don't heal properly. What's especially important is the pattern, not just a single illness, but repeated health crises that slowly chip away at their overall strength. A senior might get better temporarily after each hospital stay, but each recovery leaves them a little more frail, a little more dependent, and a little less like themselves. This is often because the immune system, already weakened by age, begins to shut down even further. The body loses its ability to fight off even mild infections. Muscles used for coughing become weak, increasing the risk of pneumonia. Dehydration from fevers or diarrhea can lead to confusion and falls. Even the antibiotics and medications that once worked well may now have little effect or cause side effects that worsen quality of life. Doctors sometimes call this a fragility spiral, a dangerous cycle of illness, hospitalization, partial recovery, then another decline. If your loved one seems to always be bouncing between home, hospital, and rehab, it may be time to shift the focus toward comfort, symptom management, and emotional presence rather than aggressive treatments. Hospice or palliative care teams can be invaluable at this stage, offering support that prioritizes peace over procedures. 4. Withdrawal from family and social life. When an elderly person begins to withdraw from family and social life, it can be deeply painful for loved ones, but it's also one of the clearest emotional and psychological signs that the end may be near. This isn't always caused by depression. Often, it's the mind and spirit gently detaching from the world as the body slows down. You may notice that your loved one stops returning phone calls or seems uninterested in visits. They might decline family gatherings, avoid eye contact, or become unusually quiet even when surrounded by people they once loved spending time with. Conversation becomes shorter. Smiles come less frequently. They may even express a desire to just be left alone. This change is not a rejection of you, it's an inward shift. As the body prepares to rest, the mind often follows. Some people describe this period as a turning inward, where the person's focus moves from relationships and the outside world toward their inner thoughts, memories, or even spiritual matters. It can be similar to a cocooning process, a natural part of the dying journey. For caregivers, this can be heartbreaking. But instead of pushing for interaction, offer quiet companionship. Sit beside them. Hold their hand. Let silence be a form of presence. Sometimes, just being there is more meaningful than any words spoken. If the withdrawal feels sharp or sudden, talk to a hospice counselor or doctor. It may be a sign that your loved one is entering the final emotional stage of life, one that deserves tenderness, patience, and deep respect. 5. Changes in breathing and heart patterns. As the body moves closer to the end of life, physical changes in breathing and heart function often become more noticeable. These shifts can be subtle at first, a shortness of breath while walking or a racing heart after climbing a few stairs. But over time, they become more persistent and even occur at rest. Breathing may become shallow, labored, or irregular. You might hear a faint wheezing, gurgling, or even pauses between breaths. In the final weeks or days, this can progress to a breathing pattern called Cheyne-Stokes respiration, a cycle of deep breaths followed by periods of no breathing at all. While unsettling to witness, this is a natural reflex of a slowing brain and does not typically cause the person distress. Likewise, heart rhythms may change. The pulse might feel faint, rapid, or uneven, and blood pressure often drops significantly. These changes happen because the heart, like the rest of the body, is becoming weaker and less able to circulate blood effectively. You may also notice cool hands and feet, bluish lips, or mottled skin, signs that blood flow is being prioritized toward vital organs. These changes are often not medical emergencies in the final year of life. They are part of the body's natural shutdown. What's most important at this stage is comfort. Adjusting pillows to ease breathing, keeping the environment calm and quiet, and working with hospice or palliative care teams to manage any distressing symptoms with medication or supportive care. 6. Decline in mental sharpness or increasing confusion. One of the more emotionally difficult signs that an elderly person may be nearing the end of life is a decline in mental clarity. Even seniors who have remained mentally sharp for years can suddenly begin to experience confusion, forgetfulness, or disorientation as the body slows down. You might notice that your loved one repeats questions within minutes, mixes up day and night, has trouble recognizing familiar faces, becomes unsure of where they are or what time it is. This cognitive decline, also known as terminal delirium, can come and go. Some days they may be lucid and talkative. Other days, they may seem lost, withdrawn, or even agitated. It's not uncommon for them to hallucinate, seeing long-departed loved ones or talking to people who aren't there. In many cases, they are not frightened by these visions. In fact, some interpret them as comforting or spiritual. There are several causes for this change: reduced oxygen to the brain, medication side effects, buildup of toxins in the blood due to kidney or liver decline, or simply the brain beginning to shut down. While it can be managed somewhat with medications or adjustments in care, it's often irreversible at this stage. What's most important is to stay calm and supportive. Correct gently if needed, but don't argue. Hold their hand. Speak softly. Remind them who you are. In this phase, your presence, more than your words, offers the greatest comfort. Confusion is not a sign of losing oneself, but a final stage of letting go. 7. Loss of interest in personal care. When an elderly person begins to neglect their hygiene, grooming, and daily care, it can be a powerful indicator that they're approaching the final year, or even final months, of life. This shift often catches families off guard, especially when the individual was once meticulous about their appearance or routine. You might notice that they wear the same clothes for days, refuse to bathe or brush their teeth, let their hair go uncombed or nails untrimmed, seem indifferent to cleanliness or appearance at first. This may seem like a sign of depression or stubbornness, but in many cases, it's the result of physical exhaustion and the body conserving energy. Bathing, dressing, and grooming all take coordination, balance, strength, and motivation, things that become increasingly limited as decline progresses. Even getting to the bathroom can feel like climbing a mountain. Emotionally, this withdrawal from self-care can also signal a detachment from worldly concerns. As the body winds down, many people begin to let go of the habits and routines that once structured their daily lives. Their focus often shifts inward, to comfort, memories, or even spiritual matters. For caregivers, the best approach is gentle support. Avoid scolding or insisting. Instead, simplify the routine. Use no-rinse body wipes, offer help dressing, or schedule bathing on good days. Make grooming an act of comfort, not obligation. And most of all, recognize that this loss of interest isn't about giving up, it's about the body and mind preparing for peace, in their own quiet way. 8. Decreased mobility or becoming bedbound. One of the most visible and profound signs that an elderly person may be in their final year is a significant loss of mobility. The gradual decline can begin subtly, needing a cane, then a walker, but over time, even standing, sitting up, or walking a few steps becomes a struggle. Eventually, many become mostly chair-bound or even bed-bound. This change doesn't happen overnight. It often follows a pattern. Reduced walking due to fatigue or fear of falling, longer rest periods between activities, needing help to get in and out of bed, inability to get to the bathroom without assistance, spending most of the day lying down. This immobility isn't just inconvenient, it signals a deeper physical collapse. Muscles begin to waste from lack of use, bones weaken, joints stiffen, and the body's ability to regulate circulation, digestion, and breathing suffers. Pressure sores can form from staying in one position too long, and risks of blood clots or pneumonia increase dramatically. Emotionally, losing independence in movement can be devastating. A once active person may feel frustrated, ashamed, or even afraid of being a burden. They might isolate themselves out of embarrassment. For caregivers, this is a moment to offer both physical and emotional support. Provide mobility aids, install grab bars, and reposition them often to avoid bed sores. More importantly, maintain their dignity. Speak to them eye to eye. Let them set the pace. And recognize that this stage often marks the final transition into full-time care, a stage where love, patience, and comfort become the most powerful medicine. 9. Changes in skin color and temperature. As circulation slows in the final stages of life, the skin begins to show visible signs of decline. Signs that are often among the most telling physical indicators that the body is preparing for death. These changes are not just surface level, they reflect a deeper systemic shift as the heart, lungs, and vascular system begin to shut down. You may notice that the person's hands and feet become cold to the touch, even if the room is warm. The skin may appear pale, grayish, or bluish, especially around the lips, fingertips, and toes. In the legs or arms, a pattern of mottling, a marbled, purplish or blotchy appearance, can develop. This often begins on the lower extremities and spreads upward as death nears. These skin changes occur because the body is redirecting blood flow to protect the brain, heart, and vital organs. In doing so, circulation to the skin and limbs diminishes. The result is discoloration, temperature loss, and visible signs that the outer edges of life are fading. It's important to know that these symptoms are not painful for the person experiencing them. They may be completely unaware of the color changes or coolness. However, for loved ones, these signs can be emotionally difficult to witness. Comfort measures like warm blankets, gentle massage, or soft socks can provide warmth and reassurance. Most importantly, recognize these signs as part of the body's natural and graceful shutdown process, one that signals it's time to focus on comfort, connection, and presence in these final days. 10. Expressions of readiness or letting go. One of the most poignant and deeply human signs that an elderly person may be in their final year, or even final weeks, is when they begin expressing a quiet readiness to die. This isn't always spoken in clear words. Sometimes, it comes through subtle shifts in tone, body language, or emotional presence. But when it happens, it's often unmistakable. They may say things like, "I'm tired. I've had a good life. I just want to go home." Or even, "I'm ready." These statements aren't cries for help or signs of depression. They're often clear, peaceful acknowledgments that their journey is winding down. For many, this readiness comes with a sense of closure, a feeling that their work in this life is complete, and that holding on no longer feels necessary. You might also notice emotional or spiritual behaviors, talking to deceased loved ones, recalling vivid dreams or visions, displaying a calm presence, even after years of anxiety or restlessness. Asking to see specific people one last time, or to say goodbye. This stage, sometimes called emotional detachment or spiritual preparation, can be deeply moving. It's not a giving up of life, but a turning toward peace. As a loved one or caregiver, the best gift you can offer is unconditional presence. Listen. Hold space. Let them lead. Avoid urging them to fight if they've found peace in surrender. In this sacred season, love isn't about keeping someone here, it's about walking beside them, hand in hand, as they gently let go. The final year of life is sacred. It's a season of slowing down, letting go, and leaning into love. If your loved one is showing these signs, know this: you're not alone. You have the strength to walk beside them with gentleness and dignity. And sometimes, the greatest act of love isn't in saving, but in simply staying. If this video spoke to your heart, please like, share, and subscribe. Someone else may need this message right now.